Hello, everyone. Hope all is well. I'm just getting in. Hi. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay. So I'm getting myself all situated. I can't wait to see everyone on. Okay, hope everybody can hear me well. I Can you guys hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. So I am super excited, you guys. So today we're going to be talking about face framing highlights with a special guest. His name is Steven, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. I hope everyone is well and in the house safely. And if you're just getting back out there and getting started back up, congratulations to you and continue to stay safe. We have got basically somewhere around an hour together, so I want to make sure that we get to cover as much as we can while we're together. So I am going to see if I can't get Steven in here. Let me see if I make sure I'm good in there. Okay, cool. So he should be here, and I'm going to go ahead and add him in. Get going. So if you guys don't know, welcome back. Hey,
Yo,
what's going on?
let me see if I can get in here a little bit better.
All
I'll just
right,
adjust this here for a sec.
awesome. So how have you
All
been? How
right.
are you?
Yeah, good, good.
Good, good, good,
Been
good.
setting this all up and then had to, of course, like tidy the house. Move the
Of
rug.
course, this is what we're doing now. We're doing hair in the house. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just letting everyone know kind of what was going on, and I was just telling people that I was hoping that they were at home safe, and if they're getting back into work, that I'm hoping that they're enjoying that process and being safe while doing it, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, today I wanted to make sure that everyone got a little taste of just kind of good ways to be able to kind of
Hey,
excel
on.
at, at highlights and everything else. Hey, On, how are you? Look, so yeah, so we wanted to make sure that we did that, and I thought you would be the best person to do that. Um, we know that your work is beautiful, and we're excited to have the opportunity to have you on our platform to be able to share a
Well,
bit.
thanks so much for having me on. Really appreciate it. I haven't done a lot of like hair color on doll heads, so yesterday was exciting. Um, my stand they don't fit on the stand as well as I was hoping for. So, but it's all good. I worked it all out, and yeah, it was nice to do a little hair for the first time. And gosh, it's been like 2 months. I haven't done
Wow.
any highlights. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
odd base here or there for a friend, but that's it.
Yeah, for sure. So, how was it working without an assistant?
Yeah, it was fine. It was all right.
Awesome. So, okay. So let's get into it if we can. I know that you kind of prepped ahead, and then one that's kind of not finished. And I know that you're going to work through it, but if you don't mind telling everyone a little bit about who you are and just what you do and that kind of thing.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm Stephen Garrison. I live in Los Angeles. Been doing hair for about 11 years now. Um, I work with Onco Tran, who's watching right now. The only thing that this doll head's missing is like his signature cut now. I was actually like thinking about that yesterday. I was like, if only she had an on cut. um, yeah, so like he and I travel together and we go to New York and Miami and San Francisco. Oh, Amy Houston's on. Hey, Amy. But yeah, so I actually started I've been working with On for a long time. I worked at his salon for a while, but yeah, currently I'm in Beverly Hills at a place called Royal, and we're all excited to get back to work and start traveling again. But yeah, I basically have just been doing the kind of like beachy highlights for years now, and playing around with that and just trying to like hone that in as much as possible. I love like that really natural
Yeah.
hair color, but then also staying on trend and doing those kind of exaggerated things,
Yeah.
but in that natural way.
Yeah.
So that's really important to me, is like giving people those exaggerated, trendy kind of looks, but then having it be like, wait, but is it maybe real?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. I love that so much. I mean, one of the things that, that we always talk about is how like just soft and beautiful it can be, and just it just looks effortless. And I think that there's something about that, that just is cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how about I show the one that I did
Oh,
yesterday?
cool. Yeah, let's see her.
Let me just get that down a little bit.
She's
Okay,
so good.
so here's what I did yesterday, and I'll show you kind of from the side here. I even waved her out myself, on
Oh my gosh,
believe
look
it
at
or
you.
not, which I don't do very often, but you get this like really nice face framing pop here. I might move that down a little bit because it's, yeah. So yeah, that's it. I'll show you guys the before girl just to get a reference, but she's here. So yeah, that's I
Gorge.
literally did this whole thing with just highlights around the face. I never went further than behind. I went like just behind the ear. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'll grab this piece that sits like right here
Yeah.
and get that one out. But that's about as far back as I went on that whole thing. And it's super soft. I love it. I'm like really excited about how it turned out, because it's fun to try new things on doll heads, because sometimes you're like, oh, wait, I can do this on a client and I don't have to feel like I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Totally.
taking a risk. But yeah, actually, this is like, so what I'll show you guys today is something that I actually do all the time on people. And like, as you can see, she had no color in the back or anywhere, and it still blends flawlessly with what she has, even though it's all in the front, and it's not too heavy.
Yeah.
So you could do this technique on someone that is all brunette, or you could do it. A lot of the times what I'll do is like, most people have color in their hair already, and
Hmm.
they're just looking for a refresh. And with your blondes and stuff, because you can take this obviously to any level that you want. I
Yeah.
mean, I took it to like, I don't know, what would you call that, an 8?
Yeah. Yeah. For
um,
sure.
so something with the blondes is they're always wanting that face framing. They want that brightness, right? And how do you
Yeah.
preserve the brightness of a blonde? I like, one of the ways I do it is I just accent around the face, so they're not getting over processed, and they're feeling like that they're also bright again. So this is a
Yeah.
great technique for blondes or brunettes, anything like. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I
She's
mean,
gorge.
I don't know if there's any questions about that, but otherwise we can kind of jump in.
All right. Totally. Yeah. Let's get right into it. And then
All
if
right.
there's any questions pop up, I'll shoot them to you as I see them.
Yeah, yeah. And just let me know if you need me to adjust this camera at all
Perfect.
as we go. So I'll move her. This is Mia, by the way.
She's a popular girl around our house. Yeah.
She's great.
She's all around my house right now. I've got about like 10 of them floating around. She's like,
Oh, nice, nice. So I started with just taking this section right to behind the ear.
Mhm.
And I always I start off with highlights from the root.
Mhm.
And do I need to turn that a little bit? I'll turn that a little
She's
bit.
great, actually. She looks
So,
good.
so there are a couple ways that you can go about these highlights around the face. I mean, some people are taking them this way,
Mhm.
I just tend to feel like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind a highlight like that every once in a while, but I want that kind of ribbon around the face. So I
Hmm.
tend to take a more of like a horizontal section around the face.
Hmm.
And what I'll do though is I'll, instead of a perfect, like perfectly horizontal, I'll take a little bit of an angle because as I work up the head, I do, if I'm going here, I just find that if I've got a little bit of an angle, it wraps into that front hairline a little bit more
Hmm.
nicely. So, yeah, I'll just take these like little baby lights around the face to start off.
Nice. And how long typically would you say if you were just doing this face framing, how long would that take you usually if you were just working at normal speed?
So, without an assistant, I did it last night in here and I timed it out. And from start to finish, it took me 30 minutes.
Okay.
If I had an assistant, if I had an extra set of hands, I could probably cut that down by like, I feel like I could cut it down by quite a bit,
Okay.
maybe like 7 minutes or so, just because like someone's holding for you, they're clipping for you, and you can crank through it pretty quickly. So
Gotcha.
I just keep working up ahead. Now, and this is like the one of the other things too is that like I'm going to take a little bit thicker sections just so I'm not getting too caught up on it.
Hmm.
As you see, this is like, I've got about a half an inch section there, but depending on like who it's on, you're going to be able to take thicker, thinner, how like you can take a lot more highlights in there if need be.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm just going to work up the side of the head here.
And do you fold your foil? Did I see you fold your foil or pre-fold or
Yeah,
anything like that?
it's got a pre-fold on
Oh,
it.
okay, gotcha. Okay.
Well, I did it. I did
Okay,
it.
cool.
I don't know why we do it. I suppose I do know why. Yeah, I don't know. You can kind of see that fold right there. I guess some people will sometimes slip their tail comb in there to hike
Yeah.
them back up. Um, I like whenever my foils slip though, I almost always open them back up and reapply bleach on them so that they stick better.
Gotcha. So
But
someone is actually asking if you're using clay lightener. He's actually not using clay. He's actually using our elite powder. And are you using 30 vol on her or?
I'm using 30 volume.
Yeah.
I've mixed it. I eyeballed it,
Yeah.
but it's about like 1 to 1.5 in terms of like bleach to developer. So I use a little bit more developer in there because in the past I've used BW2, so I like that runniness. But
Mhm.
like, um, I'm really enjoying one of the when I was mixing this one, I was
Yeah.
like. It's so nice to not have all the bleach like spray into your mouth and your eyes.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not
like,
getting that
oh,
big puff of.
that's so nice. And like this bleach does not like it doesn't fly all over when you're mixing it, which is one of my favorite parts about the bleach actually.
Totally. And for people who don't know anything about the lightener, I mean, our Elite Powder is a 9 level blue lightener, super creamy, has a beautiful consistency. Mixing ratios are anywhere from 1 to 2 up to 3, depending on what you want to do. And that obviously varies depending on, who's using it and what they're doing. But it's really, really great. And one of the things too, while he's kind of foiling up the head, we have something in there called Poly Shield, and it basically is protective. So, a lot of people don't realize that, over 50% of the hair strength is in the cuticle layers. And when you start to mess with that, in turn, you can lose the integrity. And so our poly shield helps to protect the cuticle layer. So it's kind of like a nice little added benefit. So the hair is always going to feel like repaired and healthy after a lightening service, which is
Yeah,
great.
it's got like this kind of like oiliness to it almost. It's like
Yeah.
really nice, and it like it leaves the hair feeling really good.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be my last one on the side,
Okay,
and
great.
I usually measure like maybe 2 inches on this hairline here,
Okay.
and then I stop just short of that so that when I get here I can hit it dead on. Now,
Okay.
if she had a really hardcore widow's peak,
Mhm.
then I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I would actually keep going and then right to the middle and hit like 3 foils there and 3 foils on the other side. But
Gotcha.
because she's got a pretty flat hairline, I'll hit flat hairlines dead on.
Okay. Got it. For sure. And this is moving so quick, you guys. I mean, if you really are looking at it, um, this is going to be super impact with such a little amount of time, which I think is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite techniques to do. I mean, it just looks great on anyone's hair. You like
Hmm.
it's just like a go-to. You can't go wrong with it.
Totally.
Especially for like all of the moms, that are like, what can you do in, 1 hour for me?
Yeah.
Like, well, I suppose we can do face framing highlights.
Yes, that's what you could get.
Yeah. But the thing is like your face framing highlights don't have to be boring.
Right. Totally.
Like this is just obviously the highlights from the root. The real trick is going to come from when we highlight when I do the tipping.
Mhm.
Can we see that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. Good angle for sure.
It's a little tougher for me to get to, but I'm gonna work with it. But yeah, I like you can see how little bit of hair I do. I mean,
Yeah.
when I do my baby lights, I just barely put any hair in that foil.
Yeah.
That way you get that amazing grow out,
Yeah.
especially around the hairline. I mean, you get like so many people put their hair up in a bun,
Hmm.
and you give them that extra couple of weeks of grow out before they're like, oh, my hair looks bad in a bun. I got to come back in. And and maybe that's like your thing. Maybe you're like the type of hairdresser that has like a clientele that's in there every 6 to 8 weeks. But
Yeah.
because I'm traveling, um, I like or like some people are in there every 4 weeks getting highlights, but
Right.
because I'm traveling, I have to depend on 8 weeks. And a lot of the time, if my schedule doesn't match up with somebody, they might not get back in for 4 months, and I got to make sure that it's going to look good in 4 months as well,
Right.
and that they're not going to look crazy. So these baby lights they're my go-to highlight. Like that's what I'm
Yeah.
always doing. Once in a while, I'll pull out a thicker one for somebody.
So someone's asking, are you slicing or weaving?
So I'm
You're
I'm slicing right now.
okay.
Yeah. And once again, I don't weave as often. I would say 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I'm doing slices.
Okay.
And I do the slices because when you do a baby light and you're pulling these like really fine strands of hair, if you do weave it, then it might be actually too subtle, and you're not gonna get that effect that you want.
Mm, gotcha. Now, even if you're, let's just say, even if you're approaching like something really close to the hairline, are you still using that same slicing pattern? Like, let's just say, like at the top here, like, are you still gonna go ahead with a slice as well in the front of the hairline?
Definitely
At
gonna
the,
slice this piece, yeah.
cool.
It's all preference, though. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's what's so fun about hair is you get to play around with it. And I've had ones where I just like where I'm pulling these extremely fine ones and I'm weaving because they've never had a highlight before in their entire life, and I know that like even just the tiniest amount of highlights is gonna they're gonna feel that, and it's gonna feel
Yeah.
even extreme to them.
Right.
So that's let me see, make sure I'm lined up here. It's pretty good. So this is where these two sides are gonna match up, and this is the part where you get that face. This is that face frame pop that we want. So I generally pull these ones a little bit thicker,
Okay.
and
Gotcha.
maybe I can move this up a tad.
And then you're getting another question in here. They said, is there a reason why you stay away from the base when you're painting on the foil versus, I guess, taking it up to the root?
Yeah, I mean, like, I generally will leave, like, maybe that much space
Mhm.
off the root. I think
Yeah.
right now they're going to about there just because um, it's a little harder on a doll
On the
head
head.
getting
Yeah.
right to the root. It doesn't want to hold as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I've got someone holding, then I can, and if it's on like real hair, you can just
It
get that, like,
stays.
get that much closer and it
Yeah.
stays. So it's not like, this is a little bit exaggerated, you know,
Right.
this is off the root, like almost half an inch, but you know, I could get a little bit closer, and I will get a little closer for right in here, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not, you know, I would tend to in salon get a little bit closer than that, but I
Gotcha.
usually don't paint right on the root.
Right. Well,
But
and it's going to naturally
I
move, you know,
yeah, and
from the heat.
because I like bleed marks are just like I hate them so much. So like
You're
yeah.
so welcome, by the way. Yeah, there's nothing like them, I tell you. I'm like, who wants to see that in a beautiful hair color? Quick way to make it look terrible.
Yeah, and I mean like they're easy enough to fix like in the short term. You can just put like a 5N or a 4N on them. But eventually that's going to fade out and that tiger stripe is going to come back. So yeah, this one I'll take a little bit thicker. I might go a little bit out of this. It's a little tricky with these
Yeah,
with the doll heads to
for
get it
sure.
in.
You got another question coming into while you're parting that out. This one is, how long does it typically take you to do a full highlight and tip out application only on average?
Um, you know, I tend to like to do my highlights if I'm going to do the full thing where I'm tipping out the whole head and highlighting the whole head.
Mhm.
I tend to like to do them in two steps. I tend to
Okay.
like to tip first and then highlight after.
Okay.
That way I'm only bringing the highlights down to like the part that I've tipped.
Okay.
But that being said, I will, you know, sometimes people don't need it in two steps. If it's a
Mhm.
little bit, if the tips are still already kind of blonde, then I'll usually do a partial on top.
Okay.
So I'll just go to right behind the occipital back here and highlight the top and
Mhm.
highlight the sides exactly how I did. And then I'll go in between and grab pieces and tip it all
Yeah.
out. And I would say from like start to finish, and it's hard because I do have assistants that help me
Right.
out with it. So I would say we've gotten that one down to like, I mean, that probably takes me close to an hour
Okay.
to put in with some help.
Great.
And then, you know, you've got your toners and all the other things, so you can
That
usually get
go
some
along
out.
with. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the hair type and how much hair they have, you know, you're talking anywhere from 2.5 to like maybe 3.5, 4 hours.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Cool.
All right, I'm gonna come to this side a little. So, can we see? We can't really see. Hold on.
It does get a little tricky.
Yeah.
But what I do love about this, though, is, what's really great is that you're able to take, a decent sized section, with this technique and cover a lot of surface, which I think is really, really nice actually about this placement, especially, through the top, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. I'm trying to paint it weird and stay out of the way.
That's okay. Yeah, someone is asking, what kind of foil are you using? Is this your typical foil that you like to use, or just something you had kind of at home? Or
This, I thought I had some foils at in my color kit, and I actually did not. So I had to stop by this little beauty supply store right on
Okay.
Melrose outside of my house, and it was just some like pre-folded foils.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Gotcha.
actually, it's not that dissimilar from the ones that I use though. I typically just use the Reynolds,
Okay.
that
Gotcha.
that box that comes with, I think it comes with what, 500 or 600 pieces, and then um, I usually rip them in half.
Yep.
And I'll fold two different sizes. I'll fold one that's this size, and then I'll fold one that's not torn. That's about double the length and like one and a half the width.
Yep. Yep.
And I'll do that for people that I'll usually use those for full heads. If I am going to do a full head and I need to cover a really big scape from like side to side, and then I can just wrap that whole thing.
Gotcha.
And I'll even slice all of those when I do that. So I've got 3 decent pieces here. It's about a half an inch back into the hairline.
Okay.
And you can stop here. It just depends on how fine you want that piece in the front.
Mm-hmm.
On this girl, I went I went probably one foil further back. So
Okay.
I'll do that.
Cool. Yeah, you guys, this really took no time at all, and it's a great way to really, even to enhance your ticket. So just like Steven said earlier, I mean, this gives you an opportunity. Someone comes in and they say, what can you do in an hour? I got to be out of here. I got to, get to a meeting or whatever it is. This is something really quick that you can do to elevate your service. Another thing too that just came to mind too is if someone is they're getting a, base color. What a great way to be able to break up their base color and create some softness around the face. I mean, this is great.
So here's that placement. And we're 4 foils deep in the front. And I've got maybe 1, 2, I've got, like 4 on that side, 4 on that side. Sorry, I miscounted. I've got 5 on each side.
Okay, cool.
And then I've got 4 deep. And these ones were spaced out. So like the ones on the side, I was spacing out almost a half an inch. And the ones around the face, I was just barely leaving any out in between.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, so after this, do you move on to tipping after this, or do you leave her?
I do, yeah. So the reason that I folded them up on the sides like this is so that they're not open up, and I can actually start going in and getting this hair in between and kind of pull it out, and I'm going to start teasing that hair. So what I'll usually do then, and what I did on the other girl, on the other doll head, is I'll just look and see how is everything falling, where is this going to fall towards.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that's around the face is pretty much to like is about another like inch and a half back.
Right.
And we want these ones to be a little, and this one is still falling in the front, like even right in here. So I kind of just like eyeball that, and everyone's hair is different. And so I'll just take this section right here, and it's slightly behind the ear.
Yeah.
Like right around here. And like I said before, sometimes I will grab that one right there under the nape. But that's about all the hair that we're going to use on both sides. And I'm just going to take it over here as well. That one's a little heavy.
Someone else made a comment and said this could be a quick, a great way to kind of break up any icky hair color or lines that someone may have, or banding that someone may have, as well as, during a root touch-up too. I think that's a great comment for sure.
Yeah, you're going to need this after the quarantine when you've got your clients doing their own hair at home.
It is the truth. It is so true. It's so funny. I'm like, I can't wait.
So now what I do is I'll usually lift these up and start moving the hair out. And then I'll split this one right down the middle, pull it out and over. I'm going to use a different tail comb. And I have 3 different tail combs that I use
Okay.
by YS Park. These ones are like kind of like a medium.
Hmm.
And then I've got one that's even finer than this that I'll
Okay.
use for finer hair. So, this now you got to decide like where do you want that pop to start? And
Hmm.
on this other girl, it's pretty high up in here. So I don't know. Maybe I was too fast with that, but
Yeah.
it's pretty high up. So what I did with her is I brought this way up,
Gotcha.
and I just start to tip these out around the face now. And a lot of this part is like a visual thing of kind of like just figuring out where each strand is kind of going and where you want that to sit.
Yeah.
And the further back you go, it needs to be in alignment with that one. So this one's going to go here.
Hmm.
As opposed to like going, oh, this one was 2 inches. Now this one will be 2 inches. But then what it'll do is it'll keep stacking. We want to just have it sitting right around the face. We only want that kind of like that face frame. So these have to keep moving kind of down as we go.
Right. Do you know what the brand of your combs are that you use?
Yeah, I'm using YS Park.
Cool.
And normally, and one of my assistants has my comb suitcase.
Mm.
So I usually use the one that's carbon fiber. It's a little bit stronger, so they don't. Because sometimes I'll actually break these when I'm teasing every once in a while.
Yeah, totally.
This material.
Yeah.
So I'll use the carbon fiber ones that are quite a bit stronger. So yeah, this is just going to follow that line down.
Cool. And while he's painting the lightener on the hair, we also Steva gave me some photos of before and after, so we'll make sure that we post those at the end of all of this when we go ahead and repost our video. So you'll be able to see that in our story later as well.
Maybe I can turn her a little bit just so we can see where this is heading. So I'm starting to get this kind of angle right there.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to keep.
That's great.
And then I'm actually going to take that clip.
You're getting hellos from Spain.
Oh, hey.
Someone asked about how you price a service like this. Is it custom? Is it per hour? How do you kind of get
Yeah, it's kind of
into
a customed out thing, which
Okay,
which
cool.
is great. You can see like how many tips that you ended up putting in their hair and then adjust accordingly.
Okay, great.
I would probably charge I would probably charge somewhere in the 250 range.
Mhm.
I would say I would do probably 125 to 150 for a face frame, because I mean at the end of the day, there's only like 14 highlights around the face and then these tips. I mean, maybe
Right.
you could potentially go up to 275.
Mhm.
I mean, if someone were getting hair color for the first time and this was what I was doing and it was accentuating their look and that was all they were getting, I might charge a little bit more. I might charge 350 or 400 because now what they're getting is a look that
Right.
you had to use your expertise and your professional opinion on based on
Mhm.
how much you should actually do, right? So it's not
Totally.
necessarily just about how many foils you did. It's about what you also didn't do as well. Oh, I didn't
Right.
mess your hair up. Oh, I gave you
Right.
this amazing look.
Mhm.
And it's my 10 years, 20 years, however many years of experience that you have.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it completely makes sense for sure.
Yeah. So I can hop around sometimes on those prices, just depending is it a touch up? Am I creating a
Right.
new look for somebody? Like, did they come, like, what kind of time slot did they take up as well? Like, so,
Right. Because especially if they're a new client, there's still, there's a longer consultation built in. There's so many
yeah.
other different factors, I think, too, as well.
Yeah, exactly. So someone might have come in expecting a full highlight, and I'm not going to charge them a full highlight price, but
Right.
I might have the opinion that this is going to be the right technique for them. And, I can charge them a little bit more than I would if it were a touch up, just because it is, I am using my expertise to give them that look, even though it's less highlighting. So like you can now see how exaggerated this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Starting up high and ending down low. And these ones that are around the face, I like these ones are like 6 inches off the root, and the ones up here are just like 2 inches. And as you're moving back 3-4 inches, and as I'm moving this way as well, I'm looking at where they're falling. This piece is going to be in alignment with these foils, even
Yeah.
though it's closer to this front hairline. If I hike this up too much, I don't get it. Doesn't you lose your contrast, right?
Right.
The whole thing about that face frame pop is that we've got dark and then the pop there. So you've got to keep in mind that you need that contrast.
Yeah, for sure. People are hearting you. They love it. Yes, so we'll show the sectioning pattern when he goes to the other side again, so you guys can see it. He's going to show the other side as well. And then, okay, so we're getting questions about what toners, what you like to use in our demi and stuff like that. But before we get there, we'll talk about it a little further once he gets over to the other side. Cool. Oh, okay. This is a great question. Are there any tips for combing out the tease at the bowl?
Yeah, I'll load them up with conditioner.
Yeah.
And use a tangle teaser.
Okay.
And then we just, we'll usually either go. It's interesting. Some hair actually like does really really well if you just detangle it straight from the knot. And some hair you've got to detangle from the ends and just inch your way up as you're going.
Yeah.
But the tangle teaser is like the only game in town in terms of detangling this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Great
I'm sure
question.
like most hairdressers have a tangle teaser, and if not, they've got a wet brush, and a wet brush works just as well.
For sure.
I just prefer like the no handle situation on the tangle teaser.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. I mean, now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 tips on this side here. And you've got that sloping angle, and as you know, and all these ones that are lower, you're dropping those down, and you could do this piece right behind under the nape right there as well, and that'll help connect the front to the back a little bit. But once again, I do like the darkness that comes from the back, so I don't want to go too far in the back because then we don't get as much pop. A lot of this pop is coming from the darkness underneath. So if you make that too light, then you don't get the exaggerated front pop.
For sure.
And if she was a real human being, I would clip that out of her face so I don't blind her with bleach.
For sure. She actually looks pretty cool with the foils in, with the tipping on it. I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah, so now actually, so when I do go to the other side, I'll usually leave that down for a second, and I'll pick up my first piece. And once again, like this is like, oh gosh, what is that? I mean, it's like an inch wide maybe by a quarter to a half an inch deep. They're pretty small. So this one I want to make sure is lined up with this side over here.
Gotcha.
But first, actually, we've got this one, which was the pieces that I pulled from inside here. So we'll tip that piece out first. And we match this piece up with this very first one. And we want that to line up right there.
Gotcha.
That way you're getting like you've just got an equal pop on both sides. You're starting at the same height. Otherwise it's gonna look a little wonky.
Yeah.
And what I'll usually do is I will actually open this one up. And it's right here. So this one can come up the tiniest bit.
Gotcha. So it's all about creating
this left
balance.
side was about 1/4 of an inch off. So I'm going to go up a little higher on that side. Because then once that one's set, now I've got my guideline over on this side.
That makes sense.
And I can go back to kind of freestyling it again. I mean, it's not completely freestyle, but...
Well, there's definitely a systematic approach, which I think is always great.
Right,
There's nothing like having, something where it does make sense and it does create balance as well. It's almost like mirroring what you did, on the opposite side to the other side, which is great.
I'm just going to check the second one as well. And it's pretty good. They're pretty even right there. So now I can, is that good? We got a good angle there.
Yeah, she's looking good. Now, while you're working through that, let's talk like someone comes in, they get this type of service done. For instance, your mannequin head, what do you go to for like glazing? I know we've talked about it many times about like go-tos and what you like for toning and things like that. But, what do you like as far as that's concerned?
All right. So, sorry, let me do one more comment here. So this piece is coming right from this front hairline, so it's going to be in alignment with these ones too. So these ones that are close to the hairline here, I'm hiking them up. In case anyone was wondering why I didn't go lower on these ones on the sides. I will here, but the ones that are right around the hairline, I'm hiking them up a little bit higher.
Gotcha.
In terms of the glosses, so my go-tos and what I glossed the other girl with, I grabbed them.
Oh, cool. Oh, fun.
I've got here a 9G.
Oh, yes. Good go-to.
You see that? We've got a 9G and a 7G, which, there we go. Cool. So I did 1 ounce of 9G, 1/4 of 7G, and I did about 1/4 of this 8GC.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, love that. And I thought it was a beautiful goldeny tone. The G's I love so much because I've switched over from shades, and one of the problems that I have with shades, and I don't want to talk shit on shades. I've used it for years and I've loved it. Yeah. But the problem that I've always had is like it is so hard to make like a really good gold. Like I've struggled with it. I've struggled with it, and I just feel like it's always a little bit like almost grayish or something. So what I love about these golds is they're really rich. They're really, really good. And the 8GC is such a good add-in, like really, really beautiful tones. So I use those. I mean, that for golds. Totally. I know you love the yellow kicker.
Yes, I do. I'm obsessed with it.
Which I haven't had as much time to play with the yellow kicker yet. And obviously we're in quarantine now. But
go figure.
Yeah. But I'm really excited to start playing with that yellow kicker. I really love I get a lot of beigey blondes too. So those 9GBEs are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course I really, really love, the shampoos have been so good
Oh,
too.
cool.
The purple and blue shampoo, and the copper shampoo, which
Yeah.
seems so extreme in the bottle, but then you put it on, it's a really nice kind of gold.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like it's
for sure.
really, really great.
It's definitely got a little bit of a range to it, so it's nice because you can put it on different levels and get different results, and I think that's such a
Yeah.
great thing. It's so funny. Someone's asking. Milbon, we launched two lighteners, and we launched a demi, and that's the brand under Milbon is called Sophistone. So it's a liquid demi and then lighteners. So you'll kind of see him pop up with the demis. If you've been watching the video, he just kind of put them in the screen, but they're just like a beautiful translucent deposit only demi, and really, really beautiful. They create just such soft um, results. And, like he said, the golds are really, really beautiful. And one of the things that we tried to make sure that we did was we delivered something that was going to be consistent and reliable. So we, of course, put innovative technologies in it as well. But, you know, it, with that being said, the color is just beautiful. And we also have shampoos and conditioners that go along with that Sophistone range. And hopefully, you'll see more things come out, as the brand grows and expands. So it's really
Yeah.
cool.
There's a really, really great range of tones right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even just like sitting here today, like it's really, really diverse. Like I don't really, I mean, you and I have talked a lot about like the different tones and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and like yeah, it's really good. I think you were like maybe wanting a couple more copper tones or something, but
Yeah. 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 I
but I
mean,
mean,
we
other
always
than
talk about it.
that,
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of reds, and
Yeah.
so everything that's in there right now is what I use on a daily basis, and it's
Totally.
great, and they are really consistent.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys haven't seen, let me see if I can grab it. I think I have it. Yeah. Let me see. I think. So if you guys want to see, I'll just put it up here. But we have like a really pretty range. 42 beautiful shades. They are gorgeous. If you haven't had the opportunity to play with them, they're really, really nice. Um, we enjoy them. Um, we have a good time using it, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, Stephen blew through this application so quick, and I just love that you're gonna get like a really good impact out of it. It's so so great. It's like crazy. I love
I've
that.
ran out of the other foils, so
Oh, he's had to dip into another.
yeah, they only had a pack of 45 left, and so I had to buy two different brands. So now I've got some that have like a window in them, which which is kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah, that is an interesting design. I guess so you can see what your color's doing. I guess as it processes.
Yeah, you can kind of see that like window there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
kind of cool
interesting.
actually.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool.
They don't fold as well as I would like them to. As much as like a.
I guess you lose some of that when you put that clear kind of plastic in the center, for sure.
Yeah. I just have two more tips and then we're done.
Cool. So
So, as I'm like in these sides here, I'm following the guideline of like these pieces in here. And I'm laying them a little bit higher, like a little bit more on top of. So we're building these layers up.
yeah,
As you can see, we've got these low ones, and then all these are like building up and they're hanging over. And that's where you get that's how you get those exaggerated pops, because it's like it's sitting on top of it. It's accentuating this area just right there.
yeah. Wow, it's gonna be so pretty. So once you're finished with those two, I'm gonna have you bring your finished girl back into frame once you're all finished.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So that's it. That's the whole placement. I mean, hopefully everyone can kind of see what I was doing there and that the angles were okay, the lighting was okay. Let me move that a little.
Yes, sorry about that.
Yeah, so we've just got that face frame. And then I pulled the hair in between these, and those are dipping pretty low. I like to keep some depth in here.
Yeah.
And we accentuate by hiking these ones up higher. We accentuate that big money piece in the front. So we'll bring back Mia number 1.
Yes. She's so good. So if you guys are just tuning in, this is Mia. Mia got a face framing color before this. So we wanted to make sure that you guys could see what what an after product would look like, as well as showing you the placement. And it's really, really beautiful.
So now that you've seen that placement, you can see now that angle.
So pretty.
And what that does, and how these ones are lower. So it's probably a little hard to see, but you can kind of see where those highlights are right there. They're really subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And they just they build as you go a little bit lower. So that's what I love about those, like just that face framing tip. And then I'll share what the other little trick that I did for the toning of her.
Mm-hmm.
I got a. Can we see?
Yeah.
Is it backwards?
It is backwards, but it's
That's
6N and 5G.
5G.
Okay.
All right. So I mixed those together, and I probably could have gone with a 5N and a 5G. I don't know if I quite got the depth that I wanted. But I mean, it's pretty good. So like when she first started, these highlights were obviously right to the root.
Yeah.
As you can see, they're quite soft at the root.
Totally.
And I pulled them all the way back to here. So that was like pretty thick. And so what I did is I got a bottle, because I apply everything with a bottle.
Okay.
And I sectioned that piece out, and I put that toner. Let me see. I might just take her off for a sec so we can get a better angle. But what I did was I took the toner and I put it here, and I pushed that forward. I push it all the way forward to like about here. So if you're looking at the hairline here, it hangs, that toner would go about that much past the hairline. So here it's only touching, that toner's only touching the hair about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. Oh shit, I'm off. Sorry.
That's all right. No.
Hold on, let me see if I can do it like this. Because the toning of that piece is like so important. At least for me, that's where like a lot of the magic happens.
For sure.
So let me get this. So basically what I do is I take that toner and I push it forward. And I push it down that way so that the piece underneath, the toner's only on there like maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch. But up on these pieces, it's down like an inch and 1/4.
Gotcha.
So what that does is it exaggerates the pop right here, right? Because it darkens everything here, but this is still light around the hairline, and it just gives it a little bit more exaggeration in terms of like
sense.
Getting that piece there, right? Yeah. So then, and then I also like, I go around and I did the same thing in here, and I just went piece by piece, and you can see like how that root is darker, and then the highlights seem to start down there. So that was 5G, that was 5G 6N, and that just softens everything. And so the reason, like, I mean, I do that just so it grows out really nicely, so that they don't get like any stripiness, and it looks really, really nice. But also the thing that's cool with at home when you do this like on a real person, is as they wash their hair, that toner fades out, but then the hair grows out.
Right.
So as the toner fades out and the hair grows out, they almost like kind of catch up to one another,
You
if
got
that
it.
makes sense.
Yep.
So it kind of stays looking like this throughout the whole grow out, that's like the coolest part to me.
Yeah.
So they don't ever feel that, like, that's what gives them that like really extended period of time. So I put that 6N5G on there I did 5 minutes to there. And then I stretched it another maybe half an inch,
Uh-huh.
and I left that on for another 3 minutes, and that was it.
I love that.
And then I
Oh,
glossed her.
yeah. I love that. So pretty. All right. So yeah, so we're getting, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's been almost an hour already.
Wow.
It's crazy how fast time goes. So yeah, so you guys, if you've just come on or you've been in and out, this is Steven. Steven jumped on. He wanted to show us a bit of face framing, which he did so fabulously. So we had a mannequin that he worked on and then one that was completely finished. I just wanted to take the time to just say to you, Steven, thank you for jumping on and doing this and taking time out to kind of play on ahead with us. We really, really appreciate it. It's definitely been fun for sure. I
Yeah.
always love this, you know.
Someone asked what type of wait.
What was that?
Is there a particular comb you recommend for root stretching?
Uh,
Serena. Yeah, so I wish I knew the name of the comb. I get it at Sally's Beauty Supply. It's just like a blue comb, and it's like one of those ones you can like kind of hang on. It's like one of those wide tooth
oh, it's
combs.
got like a hook.
It's like, I mean, gosh, I wish I had one on me. I mean, it's kind of like this, but it's a little bit longer,
Okay.
and it's about this size, but it's got one of those chunky kind of handles. It's like all plastic.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And it's got like these teeth that kind of intertwine like this or something.
Okay, gotcha.
And I just like, yeah, I just use that and I kind of just flick it forward a little bit. I like that one because it's like wide toothed, but there's enough, it's not so wide toothed that like you can't comb the color.
Right.
So it's like this kind of teal blue comb from Sally's, and I just keep a ton of those around. But yeah, they've got these like interlocking teeth, and it'll get that color, and you can comb it out really accurately. So yeah, usually I'll do that, or I use a glove in my thumb, and I'll push the color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, you guys. So we're coming down to it. We're going to wrap things up. Just so you guys know, what's your handle for if people want to follow you if they're not following you?
Oh, it's at Steven Garrison, Steven with a PH, Stephen, Garrison, Garrison.
Cool. And then,
Yeah.
we're here Wednesdays, Fridays, and we continue to try and do something education driven. If you guys have any requests, feel free to leave them in the comments. Once again, I will post the befores and afters of the mannequins in our story. So we'll share those in a little bit. We appreciate you guys. We hope that you're staying safe and healthy. And till next time, Steven, I will see you at some point soon, I hope.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys haven't tried these colors, like they really are amazing. These liquid demis are insane. Like they work so well. So if you're using shades now, which is what I switched from, I highly recommend giving them a shot because they're really great. I think they're superior. So just wanted to throw that out there.
We appreciate it. Yeah, we do. We really love it. And, I'm sure that you guys will too. So we look forward to seeing you back. And once again, thank you so much, Steven, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll see you guys.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.